The Lake in the Heart of Hell. How an ancient climate disaster is rewriting the history of Arabia, the discovery that changes everything. Imagine this. The temperature exceeds 50 degrees Celsius. The sand under your feet is so hot that it burns through the soles of your shoes. The air feels alive. It burns your lungs with every breath, as if you are breathing from a red-hot furnace. Birds don't fly. The animals were gone. Vegetation is a rarity that can be counted on the fingers. This is Rub al Khali, the empty quarter in Arabic, one of the most hostile and lifeless territories on planet Earth. But a few years ago, when an international team of scientists analyzed satellite images of the region, they made a discovery that revolutionized our understanding of the history of the Arabian Peninsula. There was a lake here in the heart of this hell. Not a mirage vision, not a legend passed down from generation to generation, but a real, fresh, deep lake with water reaching a depth of 42 meters. This discovery did not just add a new fact to the textbooks of geology. It forced us to rethink everything we knew about climate change, the migration of ancient peoples, the fragility of civilizations, and how quickly the world can change. Part 1. Rub al Khali is a desert that hides secrets. The geography of hopelessness. Rub al Khali is located in the south of the Arabian Peninsula, covering an area comparable to the territory of France, about 650,000 square kilometers. It is the second largest sandy desert in the world, second only to the Sahara. Its name translates as empty quarter, and this name is fully justified. There is practically no life here. There are no permanent settlements. There are no water sources. The desert stretches across the territories of 4 countries: Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Oman, and Yemen. Its reputation for being lifeless and impassable has been unshakable for centuries. Ancient travelers avoided it, calling it the Sea of Death. Modern researchers considered it one of the driest places on the planet, where the annual rainfall does not exceed a few millimeters. But reputation can be deceiving. How scientists noticed the invisible. At the beginning of the 21st century, when satellite technology reached a new level of resolution, researchers began to notice strange geometric shapes on the surface of Rub al Khali. These were not ordinary dunes, not typical desert landforms. The lines were too regular, too organized. They resembled ancient riverbeds, valleys, and the shores of reservoirs. An international group of scientists, including specialists from universities in Europe and the Middle East, decided to test this hypothesis. They organized an expedition to one of the most hostile places on Earth. When they arrived at the place, their assumptions were confirmed. Under the layers of sand, they discovered an ancient riverbed. Layer by layer, they restored the geological history: sediments typical of the shores of reservoirs, mineral compositions indicating fresh water, organic remains indicating life. Part 2. Green Arabia, a climatic miracle. The lake that was bigger than we thought. Layer by layer, scientists have restored the picture of the past. From 11,000 to 5,500 years ago, the period that covers the end of the Ice Age and the beginning of the Holocene, there was a lake here. It was not just a small lake, not a puddle that dries up in a drought. It was a full-fledged hydraulic system. The size of the lake is amazing. It was almost twice as large in area as Lake Geneva, one of the largest lakes in Europe. The depth reached 42 meters, enough for fish, algae, and the entire range of freshwater ecosystems to live in it. The lake was fed by rivers that flowed from the surrounding hills. The valley that formed the lake stretched for 150 kilometers. It wasn't just water in the desert. It was a system that supported life. The period of Green Arabia. Scientists called this period Green Arabia, a rare climatic window when conditions on the Arabian Peninsula were radically different from modern ones. The monsoons, which usually bring rain to the Indian Ocean and Southeast Asia, shifted north of their usual path. They brought heavy rainfall to an area that is today one of the driest on the planet. These rains fed the rivers that flowed into the lake. The water, in turn, evaporated, creating humidity in the atmosphere, which contributed to the formation of clouds and additional precipitation. It was a positive feedback loop. The water created the conditions for more water. Vegetation covered the surroundings of the lake. These were not dense forests, but rather well-developed vegetation, grasses, shrubs, perhaps rare trees. It was an ecosystem that could support the life of animals and humans. Climatic reasons. Why did this happen? Why did the monsoons move north? The answer lies in global climate processes. After the end of the last ice age, about 12,000 years ago, the planet began to warm up. This heating changed the circulation of the atmosphere, shifted the climatic zones, and redistributed precipitation. The period of Green Arabia coincides with the so-called Holocene climatic optimum, a period when global temperatures were higher than the average for the last 10,000 years. It sounds paradoxical. Higher temperatures have led to more precipitation in Arabia. But this is due to the fact that the change in temperature has changed the circulation of air masses, shifted the monsoon. This was not a unique case. Similar climatic shifts have occurred in other parts of the world. In the Sahara, for example, there was also a period of green Sahara when the desert was covered with vegetation and lakes. In North Africa, the Middle East, Central Asia, everywhere there were periods when the climate was wetter than it is today.